All right, Mike, let's talk about Ayden Pouncey and his commitment.
Yeah. So how about this Notre Dame getting a big time commitment out of the state of Florida from Ayden Pouncey? Really interesting one, Darren, because he was listed at 6'2", 165 pounds, and he's a safety. And you watch his film, and he's playing a lot of corner, but I just always kind of assumed that he was just a safety for the Irish. And I went back through my notes and talking to sources, I didn't have anything specific like what position he's playing. So I calling up some people, and because Pouncey told on threes Chad Simmons that he plan on playing corner at Notre Dame.
Hmm.
Talks to some people close to the program. What's the sense? Just a defensive back. Multiple people say just DB. Just get him in and play. Very similar to Joey O'Brien from Pennsylvania, who's 6'4", 180 pounds. Just get him in. And the good thing is your defensive backs coach, Mike Mickens, and Mickens is going on his 5th year. Like, how much longer is Mike Mickens going to be at Notre Dame? And it's a whole side discussion. Pouncey's film's a ton of fun to watch, by the way, for folks watching on YouTube or taking a look at it. But you have a defensive backs coach who does lead both groups, corners and safeties. So, it's not like you're sending one to the other room. Like, no, everyone meets together. So it would be fairly easy for Pouncey to cross train or start at one and move to the other position when your DB's coach does lead both groups. So yeah, in terms of Pouncey's commitment, Darren, some Irish fans will remember his older brother, Jordan Pouncey, was committed to Notre Dame as a wide receiver back in the 2017 class. He ended up decommitting, flipping to Texas, and then signed with Florida. And the Pouncey last name, there's the twins, the offensive linemen back in the day. It was Mike and Markeith Pouncey, if I remember their first names correctly. One of them played for the Dolphins, the other for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's the second cousins of this Pouncey family. And then Notre Dame had also offered Ethan Pouncey, a defensive back in the 2020 class, who signed with Florida and is now finishing up his collegiate career at Georgia Southern. So third time was the charm here with the brothers. Notre Dame landing a commitment from Ayden Pouncey, who told On3's Chad Simmons that going into his first visit to Notre Dame in March, he was like, "Man, I don't know how much I'm gonna like it here, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I'll take the visit. Like, I like the staff, but it's Notre Dame for me." He absolutely loved his first visit to Notre Dame so much that, talking to Notre Dame sources, the Irish felt like they took the lead for him. And then he locked in a return visit a month later. And, talking to Notre Dame sources, when that visit's booked, their ears are, perked up. They're like, "Is this kid about to commit?" You don't visit twice in a season. And when I say season, I'm talking like winter, spring, summer, fall. You don't visit twice in a season unless you're super, super serious and could be near committing. And that's what happened. Pouncey picking Notre Dame. Some sources say that Michigan was the runner-up. So Notre Dame just been beating up and bullying Michigan on the recruiting trail for this 26th class. LSU was also a huge contender, which is obviously, Darren, a big-time defensive back school. Florida was definitely in the mix here. Pouncey said he grew up a Miami fan, or at least following that program very closely. So a pretty solid recruiting win, really interesting player, playing receiver in the return game, playing corner, and could definitely translate to safety at the next level. So big body guy, got some swagger to him. And again, really good get here for the Fighting Irish.
We now lead to a pretty generic question, but a popular one. What's next for the Irish?
There are two players who have commitment dates set for the very near future. So let's just go to those two guys. Javian Osborne from Forney, Texas. I got to see him a couple weeks ago, Darren, and thought he looked like a really impressive prospect. He wears the number 26, and I've got to assume it's for Saquon, because he's got that bowling ball tight build, but he's not like as short as, or at least doesn't look as short to me as like a Kyron Williams or like a Blake Corum. He looks a little bit taller, but he's just, he looks the part for sure. So Javian Osborne down to Notre Dame and Michigan. And again, I think that Notre Dame is going to beat up on the Wolverines again on the recruiting trail. I like where the Irish are at for Javian Osborne, who commits this Saturday, Darren, I believe 6 p.m. Eastern time. So Notre Dame would be over the moon to add Javian Osborne, the nation's number 106 overall player, number 8 running back, in the 2026 class. And then next up, Tiki Halla, another player from Texas. So Javian Osborne's in Forney. It's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Tiki Halla, Bastrop, Texas. I believe that's like the Austin-ish area. I haven't been there, but he's ranked a little bit lower. Nation's number 441 overall player, number 47 defensive lineman. I personally think he's a 4-star guy. That's what ESPN and Rivals think. On 3 and 24/7 as a 3-star. I think Halla will end up being an industry ranking 4-star, which includes all of the rankings and puts it out into one rating. But I think Halla's a really nice player. He's announcing May 10th. Notre Dame, USC, and SMU, his final 3. But I really think it's between Notre Dame and SMU. Usually, Darren, when a kid puts out a commitment date, if they haven't already made a silent commitment, they kind of know where they're going. Halla, though, unless I'm just out of the loop, he announces a commitment May 10th. So this weekend's May 3rd, I believe, and then May 10th is the next Saturday. I don't think USC is really in the mix here. I think it's really Notre Dame and SMU. He's officially visiting SMU this weekend, which is interesting. Notre Dame really does June official visits, by the way. That's the all expenses paid trips. Notre Dame really just does them in June. They don't do them during the spring. It's just how they plan this out. Coaches are on the road, they don't do them during the spring. SMU is, and they're having Halla in this weekend, so that is something that's very interesting. He's going to officially visit the other contender before his commitment date. But you talk to Notre Dame sources, Darren. I've got a prediction in for him to land with the Fighting Irish, and my sources in South Bend continue to say that Tiki's looking good to the Fighting Irish. But got an official SMU the weekend before, and I don't think he's given either staff indication of what he's going to do. So an interesting one, Darren. I will say, Austin to Dallas is, I think, 2 or 3 hours. I've actually made the drive before, but it was a few years ago. I can't remember, but so it's not like it's a backyard school. So it's definitely interesting. I think that Notre Dame gets Tiki Halla. Notre Dame would be over the moon to land him. And Al Washington, Nick Sebastian, and that staff is so far with the defensive ends they have committed, and 2 arguable, they could have 2 5-stars on the defensive end at the defensive end spot. They'd be really glad to add Tiki Halla to that group.